Melodifestivalen 2021 is here. There may not be an audience, but there is plenty of action to discuss. Porg, are you ready?
Let's do this.
Yes, 7 acts and one very big stage. Let me just kick this off by saying I was very impressed with how this looked. I think they are making the most of the fact there is not an audience. You don't need an audience to put on an amazing show, and this is proof of that. In any case, first up was Kadiatou. The song is One Touch. A sample lyric is Lights and fireflies, my mind is on its way up to the sky, Porrig.
It's definitely the most current of this week's bunch. And even from the song title alone, you instantly get flashbacks to Dua Lipa. And once you hear the song and once you see the stage show, it's even more Dua Lipa. While Kadiatou looks nothing like Dua Lipa, the way she moves on stage, the electric beats, the electronic, it's very cool. It's very kind of, do you know the way Dua Lipa has this kind of nonchalance to her music? It's not like it's as if she doesn't care, she doesn't give a damn. Kadiatou kind of has the same thing. The footage we saw was rehearsal, so I don't think she was going full out, that the vocals seemed to be a bit like she was resting herself, because ultimately it's not to the jury, or there's not even the jury show at this stage. It's just the final on Saturday that is the important one that people are voting on. So I can understand why she might be taking it easy. But it's a slick song. I can see what the buzz was about it. It's definitely a contender to go direct to the final. I wouldn't be so sure of it being a challenger for the ultimate win, though. I don't think we're going to have the winner from the opening slot of the semi 1 like we did last year with the Mamas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was the perfect song to open not just the semi-final, but all of Melodifestivalen, because it shows off everything. It shows off the stage. The stage looks enormous. It shows off the tricks they can do on that stage with the lighting. I love this vintage 80s retro kind of almost rainbow-esque. It's like a dark rainbow, basically. And they have different angles of lights hitting the screen. And so at certain times you're like, wait, is that an illusion? Is that real? It's just amazing. It shows expense. It shows ingenuity. It's like the perfect opener for what we can expect at Melodifestivalen this year. The song, it's quite good. It is very Dua Lipa. Even when you read the title, one touch is all it takes. I swear that's what I wanted to sing. I don't like the pop drop. I gotta keep it real. I never like pop drops. I think it kind of loses the momentum. In a 3-minute song, you've got to make an impact. And granted, Joust did it in Norway and made the top 10. In any case, this is a strong entry. It could contend to go to the final for sure. Oh, and I like her sass. Can I just tell you, this is sassy. And I like how all of her backing dancers at one point grabbed their really long hair braids or hair extensions. And it's a powerful moment. All right, we move on. Act number 2, Lillasyster, Little Sister. This is a rock band. The song is Pretender. Sample lyric, got your red hot venom flowing all through my veins. Porrig, do you feel the heat?
I'm sorry, but Pretender is not a contender for me. It's a very unique song is possibly the word for it, because it starts off like they're doing kind of a country folk kind of thing, and it's meandering along, and I'm kind of like wondering, is this going anywhere? And then next thing they're screaming at us with their heavy metal rock kind of style, and there's fire shooting everywhere. But despite all that, it doesn't grip me. I don't think it's mainstream enough to appeal to the Swedish masses, and it kind of feels like one of those sort of obligatory rock entries that's in Melfest most years, and it will do maybe come 5th or 6th, but it never really challenges for the top 4, and I don't see this breaking that trend. I think that it's possibly too dated for the youngsters and maybe too out there for older people, and it's caught in a kind of a middle ground, and it's something you either love or hate, and I'm in the latter camp.
He keeps it real. I want to read you Robin Gallagher, a Wiwiblogger in New Zealand, her first response to this. She said, a classic devil woman rock song where the singer gets all hot and bothered over a woman who done him wrong. The song starts with a simple acoustic guitar opening and builds before exploding into a chaotic rock extravaganza. Mouth, he screams. I gotta say, at the beginning, I was really impressed with this guy's vocal. It kind of reminded me of the Ralph Gillenhammer from a few years ago, Bet on Fire. He's got a really strong voice, and I'm really into it. It almost sounded like Nicky Borg from Melodifestivalen in 2011, Coming Home, one of my favorite songs ever. Really just a nice voice. But then he starts screaming. And when he starts screaming and setting things on fire, you just want to call 999, 911 if you're in America, because you think something's going to burn down. But again, they show off the stage. There's so many lights on this stage, you feel like you're at a rock concert. And I think for people who are starved of going out, being in the public, attending events, this song in particular gives you that feel that you are in like a stadium. And so in that sense, I was like, wow, I'm quite taken by Lillasyster. The Pretender is real. But no, I do accept your points. I think it could be very off-putting to some people, but at the same time, like, I am partial to rock, and I quite like this. I just wish he wasn't so angry in that middle bit, because I think then it would have a clearer path to maybe second chance. As it stands now, I'm not so sure. But yeah, well done to them with the staging. I am all over the stage, y'all. Ooh. We move on. The third song. This is... Oh, Jessica Anderson. Wait, let me show you my girl. There she is. She is on my wall. I love this woman. The song is Horizon. Sample lyric, so light up the world and paint the horizon. Light up the world for us. I'm glad I'm not lactose intolerant. Pouring.
I am a very big Jessica Anderson fan too, but my love is... it has boundaries. I don't love everything she does. When she does something like Party Voice, I'm all over it. Party Voice, I think, was one of my most played songs of 2018, and I still play it today. But then there's other songs like Can't Touch Me Now, which was her 2015 entry.
Can't Hurt Me Now.
Oh, Can't Hurt Me Now. Sorry, that shows you how often I've played it since, which is none. And this Horizon is closer to Can't Hurt Me Now than it is to Party Voice. It has a bit more energy to it than her 2015 song, but you definitely won't mix it up with a Schlager dance floor filler. It's not that. It's kind of a gospel-y power anthem. I'd say there's a few buckets of cheese were used in the mix to blend it all together. And then the staging, there's lots of billowing ribbons. Well, her dress kind of resembles billowing ribbons, and it's an odd shade of green, which I'm not sure if it entirely works on stage. It looks a bit like she's being strangled by the waist. And the song, it doesn't grab me. It doesn't have an instant hook or melody that I'm humming afterwards. There's a couple of other songs in the semi that do. And afterwards, the lasting memory I have of this isn't the performance, but it's the dress.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up. It kind of reminds me at the end of the Loch Ness Monster. She's sort of wearing this green dress, and then towards the end they project some lights on it, and I was like, is that sand? Are those some crabs? Is that a lobster? I didn't know what was going on. I just know it looked like a hot mess. It's like she was emerging, having been trapped under the water for 5,000 years, which is unfortunate because she is an icon. This comparison may make sense. We love Charlotte Perrelli's Schlager pop work. Then at Melodifestivalen last time, she came with this attempt to reinvent herself musically, put everybody to sleep, and she came near the bottom. I worry that's going to happen to our Queen Jessica Anderson here. From party voice to pure schmaltz. This is just, it's cheesy and like, something she can sing, obviously, that's not the issue. It's just the song is ultimately not that amazing, and I think the staging actually looks quite cheap. It's like they're fighting over her dress. It's like we've seen this in so many national finals for decades. We used to do this when I was like 4 years old around a maypole when you run around and date. You have the little ribbons. It's just cheap. It's overdone. It's tired. The dress itself could be more magnificent. If you're going to have people pulling it, quartering it, if you will, I don't know, add some sparkle or something. This is like, we have a shop called Hobby Lobby in America. This is very Hobby Lobby. It is not fabric from Harrods, let's just say that. So in any case, I'm going to let this rest in peace. I don't think this is going anywhere. No. Maybe Andra Johnson, based on reputation and popularity, but in terms of actual performance, needs to go. All right, we move on. Paul Ray, the missing piece sample lyric. I'm done with being the strongest. Baby, it's the smallest things you do that make that picture so big. Porrig.
This is a song that when I heard the snippet at lunchtime, the 1 minute snippet, I was a little bit underwhelmed and I thought, okay, it's nice, but it's not up there with a song from last year. But it fell together for me once I saw the live performance in the rehearsal clip. You need to hear the full song, and he really delivers it live. You can feel the emotion, and he wasn't holding back like some of the other performers that he may as well have been giving his live semi-final performance today. It was very slick, the staging. He moves around, and there's kind of screens, big giant screens with plinths that he hops up and he sits on them at points, and they move around, and then by the end they've effectively formed a corner that he sits in, and it nearly looks like he's in the corner of a room alone on this big massive stage, and that's all very impressive. The lighting, it's all warm oranges and red kind of colors, and it's probably the kind of song that you would have heard a lot on the radio maybe 2-3 years ago when Ed Sheeran was at its peak, just before we kind of had the onslaught of Dua Lipa and The Weeknd. It was this kind of music. It's quite similar, I guess, in tone to Victor Crone from last year or Robin Benson. Maybe not quite as upbeat as those, but it's a nice song, and it's a strong entry, and I would definitely see it as a contender for the top 4. I would be shocked if it didn't go further.
Yeah, this is an example of a puzzle that is greater than any individual piece. Because when I heard the snippet, I was also like, whatever. But then when you see the performance and hear the whole song, he really is telling a story. And so rather than just dipping in for a chapter or a sentence, you get the full narrative arc. It's very good. Cinematic, in a way. You could hear this in a movie. Acoustic guitar opening. Very classy. Very, very classy. I just feel like this is the most... If I had to give a Grammy in this semi-final, this would get the Grammy, because it just feels like a quality song. And lo and behold, I look at the songwriters, and Ms. Laurel Barker, shout out to Laurel, she's the lead writer here, so well done to her. I gotta say, the staging looked a little cheap. These big jigsaw puzzles, it's like something you see on kids' TV. Oh, we're gonna create a jungle. We're gonna create, I don't know, moving walls. I sound a bit basic. But the lighting is effective, and it creates that atmospheric, moody. I like you see the mic, like it's kind of like when, who was Felix Sandman had that mic on stage. It gives it that homey feel, and he's singing from the heart, so you want to keep it simple. I think if this had been too elaborate, you would have killed the message and emotion of the song. So I get why they did what they did. I just wish those plinths didn't look so paper mache. Maybe my computer's too HD or something, but I'm sure it'll be fine on the weekend. All right, we move on to Arvingarna with Tänker, inte, and the sample lyric here is, and the cries echo over the rooftops, hey, hello, is anyone awake? Porrig, what about you?
This is a song that it's one of those typical songs that's very much for the Swedish viewer at home. And it's not designed, I don't think, to appeal to us international fans who are watching from abroad. That it feels very Swedish. It's that kind of schlagery dance band fusion. Of the Arvingarna songs that I'm familiar with, which would be namely I Do from a couple of years ago, and they had Eloise went to Eurovision in the 90s, I don't think this is as strong as those entries, but the staging is quite eye-catching. It's basically, they've taken Guy Sebastian staging from Vienna and they've upgraded it a bit. It's got more depth to it because they're using the full stage. So they have the street light effect with the lights and the street lamps at the side and the urban streetscape behind them. But it goes back longer than Guy Sebastian does. So it looks like they're on a real street almost. And the 4 men are very charismatic. They've been in this game for a long time, so they know how to work all the camera angles. They know how to appeal to the Swedish housewives watching at home. And now that the age groups have a different weighting when it comes to the voting, that could help them, because there's often kind of a retro act that does quite well when they stick to what they're known for. And Arvingarna are known for this. And I would say that they're probably contenders for the top 4, and then depending on the night, we'll see whether they can slip into the top two, because occasionally these old acts do get in higher than you would expect. There was the guy from a couple of years ago with his Boogeyman Blues, and nobody saw that coming. And I would say that this is a catchier song, and it seems to be getting a lot of buzz online, but we'll always have to wait and see how that translates on Saturday.
Do you remember way back, sometime in the 10s, call him the king of the king of dreams, they call him the Melodifestivalen? They went to the final, and it's an example of what you're saying, kind of like old schoolish, but then very catchy, very good on stage.
And there was the Rolands with Full Dance a couple of years ago as well. That this is better than that.
Yeah, I gotta say, this group that starts with an A, I actually really like it. It's the one that I was kind of most gripped by and that went by the quickest, and a lot of that does come down to the staging. The four of them are dressed completely differently. Like, one of them's in a tuxedo, and I think he's kind of the most charming, charismatic, eye-catching. And then there's like a dude who just stumbled out of a club, or rather was kicked out of the club, because he was acting naughty after hours, very slovenly. So yeah, there's something to appeal to everyone, whether you want to keep it cute or get it down and dirty. I think musically it's actually okay. Like, I don't know what he's singing about. Obviously we don't speak Swedish, but it's very catchy. And for whatever reason, I really warmed to this. And I was like, this has to be in the top four. This has to sing another day. This has to go on. It will be divisive, I think, but not necessarily among Swedes, but among foreigners. If you read on the Wiwibloggs first impression, Robin and Tobias, who is Swedish, Robin, who is not, they did the first impression, and Robin was like, this is the kind of song that not many Eurovision fans are super fond of, but it's necessary to Melfest. Whereas Tobias was like, they deliver another Arvingarna song with a catchy refrain and modern schlager, pure energy pill, exactly what we need. So there you go. I think Swedish people do respond to it, judging from comments on our website. And elsewhere, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more. All right, act number 6. This is Nathalie Brydolf with Fingerprints. Your fingerprints, they're lingering like ink on my skin. Well, girl, get some soap. Honestly, when I have smudge marks on my glasses, I clean them off. She needs to move on. Poor Rick.
This is a song that, at the start, I'm kind of like, oh, this is nice. She has a beautiful voice, bit like Molly Sandén. This could be going somewhere. It's a little bit haunting. I'm feeling a little bit emotional. 30 seconds in, same thing. Halfway through, is this going anywhere? Are we going to get any jury notes? Is anything exciting going to happen? Nope. Then it's over. And it's just very, very flat. It's a nice... Usually these kind of songs, when they do come to Melfest, usually they're in Swedish and we don't get the meaning. So I guess hearing the meaning makes it a little bit more engaging. But aside from the instrumental building up a little towards the end, nothing much happens. And Nathalie's voice, she doesn't even do anything with her voice, and she has the capabilities, because I compared her to Molly Sandén, but Molly Sandén, when she has a big ballad, she knows that she needs to give a jury note and she needs to create a moment. And this song is sorely missing that. And I'm actually surprised, because when you look at the songwriting team, it's got people like Laurel Barker amongst the number, and she's the queen of making like catchy moments in the song, but it's just missing completely from this. And it's a song I struggle to see it getting any further, because in these semi-finals as well, people are voting on the app and it's very instant and they need to be motivated to go tap tap tap, and this song isn't going to motivate people to tap tap tap.
Yeah, the piano element is nice. Going for Kate Bush, but ends up in the bushes. Let's keep it real. It's just, I don't connect with this. I much prefer the emotional female ballads by the likes of Jessica Pritchard, Alive, that go somewhere. Like, there's that wind machine moment, and she's on her knees, and she's like, something came alive. I just want to say this to our girl, Nathalie. I just gotta say this. Everything will be okay. It's okay, girl. You need to let him go. You need to move on. I think we've sort of said what we're gonna say about this, to be honest. Beautiful singer, beautiful staging. Just left me a little cold at the end of the day. And finally, we move on to Danny Saucedo. He, of course, has a great track record in this contest, having come second twice. His song is Dandy Dansa, sample lyric, I say dance, a little Macarena, I say dan 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 dandy dan. let me just kick this off. I think they were going for like the most expensive, most innovative staging here. He ended up dancing in a room with cardboard boxes. It may have missed the mark. It's cool for a few seconds. Like for about 30 seconds, I'm like, great. So when's he gonna leave the room and go to the next setting? He's in this room, this photocopy room with his interns for like 2.5 minutes or for 2 minutes. And then when he leaves the copier room, he's just in front of some lights. It's like he went out back to have a smoke. You know, this does nothing for me. He can dance. I think the song is terrible. I think the staging has amazing potential and is really eye-catching, but then it gets old. In the digital press room, we have a second camera where we can see just what's going on the stage from a distance, and I think that's more engaging and interesting than what we actually see inside the room filled with cardboard boxes. Poor Rick.
I think it is the most memorable performance of the night because nobody is going to forget about a room of moving cardboard boxes. And it's kind of, at the start it's a bit of a novelty because it's moving around, and the way the box is moving, it gives the illusion that Danny is on a treadmill, but he's not. He's standing still, and it's the boxes that are moving around him, the big wall of boxes. And it just gets, after a few minutes, the song is quite catchy, but it just gets a bit repetitive. You're like, are the boxes going to fall down? Is there going to be a big reveal? And nothing happens. And I think this is a song that is sorely missing the live audience because it needs the energy. It's kind of an upbeat, dancey pop song, and there's moments there where you think, okay, this is where the crowd needs to come in and cheer and wave their flags and do whatever they need to do. But instead we see more boxes, and then he goes around and he's backstage, and it's kind of like a low budget music video. It's not as slick as Benjamin and Grosso's from a few years ago, and there's still work to be done, and I presume they'll sort it by Saturday, but a lot of the time it seemed as if the cardboard box crashed into the cameras because the camera work was very shaky. Danny does have a lot of charisma still, and because he is one of Sweden's biggest domestic pop stars at the end of the day, but this, I don't think it will be challenging for the win the way his previous entries were. It's not in the same league, and I'm not a fan of those other songs at all. Danny Saucedo, I've never really seen the appeal to his music, but yeah, I guess Swedes might understand this a bit more and see the appeal, but I'm not expecting him to go for a win. I don't think Danny's expecting a win. I've seen reports where he said he's just there to promote his new music, and it kind of reads like that. I think he'll comfortably get to the final on a mixture of the innovation that it's a novelty to see all these boxes and on his name alone. But yeah, he's not a winner. And people are saying that this is a strong semi-final. It's okay, semi-final. But I would be shocked if we have the winner of Melodifestivalen in 2021 amongst these 7.
I hope not, because that would not bode well for Sweden. Look, let's go around and name our 2 winners. I think these are not our personal winners, these are our predictions of who will go through. I think one act going direct till finale is Danny Saucedo. Again, combination of sort of staging and his reputation. And I think the other act could be Arvingarna, actually. There's something about this that's just very likable. And then my 2 Andersson would be... Oh, this is tough. You know what? Kadiatou is... It's hard to break in at Melfest is the thing. Goodness me. Well, I would send through Paul Ray and Kadiatou. But if that will happen, I don't know. Poor Rick.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I would say Danny Saucedo is a sure bet to get through to the final. And then I would be kind of going back and forth between Arvingarna and Paul Ray. Based on Paul Ray maybe has a bit of goodwill from last year. Arvingarna have the support from years and years of performing. The only thing is they went through Andersson the last time they were here with arguably a stronger song, but they might have been in a stronger semi, so it's hard to judge. But I would say that they're in Andersson, and then the 4th one I would say is Kadiatou, that she's kind of new to the scene, a bit like Margaret was a few years ago. She probably has a stronger support base than Margaret, who was from Poland. But Yeah, and I would say then fifth would be Jessica Anderson. And if there was to be a shock top four, I would say her. But at the same time, I would say that she's not helped by Arvingarna being in the same group as her because she's kind of the same generation. Well, maybe a couple of years. She came in on the scene around 2003. They were around maybe a couple of years before her, but they're drawing votes from the same pool of fans. So that's going to hurt her, I think. And I think Lillasyster and Nathalie are out of contention. Alas.
Yeah. I just realized, have these two guys been sitting on my shoulder the whole video? I can't even...
I think so.
Oh, well, welcome to my house. In any case, that is what we think. What do you think? Who do you think are going direct till finale? And who do you want to go direct to the final? Who's going to Andersson? And who do you want to go to Andersson? Let us know in the comment section down below.
And make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you never miss a video.
And you guys, there may not be a press room or an audience at Melodifestivalen, but SVT, they are slaying with some digital press coverage and access, which helps us do videos like this. So thank you so much to all of them. And we got a lot of videos coming your way, lots of polls on Wiwibloggs.com, so check it out. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.